Beautiful. Sarah Philippi here with Reversing Breast Implant Illness. And in my first video in this series, I asked the question, what was life like prior to becoming sick? And I shared my answer to this from my own life. So in this video, I'll be asking another question. What is your life like now or since becoming sick? And how has this impacted you? So I'm going to be sharing what my life was like when I became sick and how it was impacting me. And I hope that you all can resonate with this and what I'm going to share here, and that maybe you'll take the time to comment below or reply to the email if you're getting this by email, and share with me, what you went through as well. I'd love to hear it. So within about 6 months of getting breast implants, I began to see my once perfect health steadily decline. And I say perfect in quotes because I had a really terrible diet and not the most healthy lifestyle. So I began to experience things like fatigue, irritability, feeling cold when everyone else was comfortable or hot, gaining weight really easily, brain fog, the inability to focus on what I was reading, severe fatigue and irritability after exercise, dry skin, loss in sex drive, forgetfulness, things like that. And at the same time, I worked night shift as a nurse at a really busy hospital. And for some time I thought, if I can just get off of night shift, I think I'll feel better and I'll be back to myself. And I would literally come home after work, after working for a few nights in a row, and just like sleep until about 5 p.m. and then wake up for a few hours and then fall back asleep for the night again. So it was just this horrific, never ending, just merry-go-round of, sleeping during the day and sleeping at night and just back and forth. And that was my routine. And I knew something that was wrong. I knew something was wrong because I was just no longer myself. And as time passed, symptoms worsened. I began experiencing night sweats, horrific insomnia, mind racing, perioral dermatitis, which is like a red rash around your mouth and under your lips on your chin, headaches, food sensitivities, chemical sensitivities, heart palpitations, periods of rapid heart rate or tachycardia when I was just sitting and resting, and extreme anxiety to the point of not wanting to be in public. And I just couldn't stand loud sounds or bright lights, and being at work in a noisy environment with everyone around me kind of chit-chatting and hustle and bustle and all of that was just absolute torture. I experienced chest tightness, shallow breathing, and a real fun one, mental awareness of every single breath that I took, from the moment I woke up until the moment I fell asleep. So for those of you who don't know, breathing is a part of your autonomic nervous system. So think autonomic, automatic, right? So it just happens automatically and you're not supposed to be aware of it. So that was maddening. And then I began to have menstrual periods that started out with vomiting, diarrhea, and excruciating pain all at the same time. And sometimes, I had to resort to oxycodone just to get relief because nothing else would touch it. And so this led to planning my work schedule and my entire life really around my menstrual cycle, and a lot of sick days. And I had no idea, what was wrong with me. I was a complete mess and I felt completely alone. No one understood what I was going through because on the outside, as you know, I looked fine, right? Sick doesn't always look sick. So beyond what I was going through personally in my body, this struggle really put a huge strain on all aspects of my life. So this is how it impacted me, right? So it put a huge strain on my marriage. It's so hard to cope with a spouse who suddenly, from what seems like out of nowhere, suddenly becomes this sick. And, we hadn't even been married that long. We had been married maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And, I would say I'm really blessed to have a loving, supportive husband. But, it was still a huge strain on our relationship. How we feel on the inside tends to express itself in how we treat other people. And so there were times where I was just not a nice person to be around, period. And so from here, I started having IBS symptoms, gas, bloating, frequent stools, loose stools, and pain every single evening. I felt my best after going to the bathroom in the morning, and worse as the day went on and I ate more food. And that's classic SIBO symptoms, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And it was to the point of not wanting to do anything social because I was so miserable and so uncomfortable. I didn't even want to wear pants. All I could do was just lay in bed and wait until the next morning when I finally would feel a little bit better again. So, living in my body, I mean, it was just so uncomfortable that there were times I literally just wanted to jump outside of my skin and hide under a rock. I could no longer work out because lifting weights left me feeling incredibly weak and very irritable. And, the stress of working out just felt like too much for my body to handle. And it was just overtaxing my nervous system when I already had a very overly stressed nervous system. I could no longer tolerate any kind of conflict or any kind of even just heated conversation, or even if it wasn't heated, just an important conversation just made me feel like I was just instantly in fight or flight. And it just made me feel like I might explode. I could not even get words out to express what I was thinking or feeling. And the discomfort of all of this was just maddening. I started to wonder if I was just going to have to learn to live with all of these symptoms. Couldn't find really any answers, and just going down lots of different rabbit holes looking for these answers. And I'm pretty sure everyone I knew thought I was crazy, because on the outside I looked fine, and I couldn't find any real, answer for why I was suffering so much. So not only did it impact how I felt, it was a ripple effect throughout my life, impacting my marriage, my friendships, my relationships with other family members, my ability to, serve others the best that I could at work, my ability to tolerate being at work, my ability to maintain, a healthy body by, having a good diet and eating the proper foods and working out and, keeping myself healthy. I just wasn't able to do any of those things. I wasn't really able to travel and enjoy the travel. I still pushed myself. I still did the things that I wanted to do for the most part, but I did it and felt miserable the whole time. It was deep down inside, trying to put on a happy face, but deep down knowing like, I feel absolutely terrible. I wish I could just be at home laying in bed, so I was not thriving. I wasn't even truly living, and I wasn't enjoying my life. It wasn't a life worth living. And so I hope that some of you can hear this, read this, and relate and see yourself in the story, because I want you to know that you're not alone. There are so many other women out there just like you, including me. I was like you at some point, down, in the past as well. And, I also want you to I want to share with you that you can still have hope, even if you're still in that dark place. I will share more about my story and my journey with you in a future video, but I just want to leave you with that there is hope and you're not alone. And you can always reach out if you just need a little guidance or some help. And a good place also to find support and help is in the Facebook groups that are all over Facebook, including my own, which is Reversing Breast Implant Illness. So you can find me there. You can go in the group and share your story. You can share it below here in the comments. You can reply to this message if you got it by email. Share with me, what has your life been like since you started to become unwell, and how is it impacting you? I want to know. So I hope you'll share, and that's all for now, but I'll see you in the next video. All right, take care. Bye.